My name is Mpume, Nyandu. I'm originally from Maritzburg. After graduating, I worked for the Department of Agriculture within the University of Natal, and I was a publications coordinator for subsistence farmers. But then I realized that subsistence farmers could not read. A lot of them that I dealt with could not read much. So I decided to get a job with the Department of Adult Education, where I had to learn how to write simply for neoliterate people or people that do not read much. That translated into my radio work because I realized the best medium to reach such people would be to listen more than read. So I produced a multimedia program where I worked with the Center for Adult Education to produce a newspaper for adult basic education while also producing programs that related to the topics that we covered in the newspaper, in the tabloid newspaper that we produced every week. And that's basically where my whole communication started, my corporate communications kind of work started. Thereafter, I explored journalism. I was an environmental journalist dealing with environmental issues, environmental injustice issues in South Africa, people living next to landfill sites, people living in asbestosis, in asbestos houses. I then transitioned into corporate communications, working for the private sector. I've also worked for the government communication information system. Eventually, I decided to work on my own. Right now, I work as a life coach, and I'm loving it. The reason I transitioned into life coaching was I discovered as a manager that I enjoyed empowering people. I enjoyed guiding people instead of waving the big stick in terms of what they needed to achieve and do. And I always clashed with my bosses because they felt like, oh no, why are you spending so much time on these people instead of telling them what to do? And I found that the coaching route worked very well for me and my team. And we were very productive as a result. So I started my own company called Own Your Mark. And this is all about helping people be themselves, own their mark, empower themselves, and grow to be better people in whatever they want to do or aspire to be. The transition was easy, actually, because I studied at the University of Natal, and my first job was at the university. So it was not an environment that I wasn't used to. The only thing that I had to get used to was being an employee. And that worked very well for me because I worked closely with lecturers and people within an academic kind of environment. And coaching became, and mentoring became a natural part of whatever I did. So it was quite easy for me. My first mentorship was actually in my first job because I had never produced any publications before, and my job was to produce a publication, a monthly publication for subsistence farmers. And I had to work with plant pathologists. All I had was my degree in English and drama studies. And I had an interest in producing publications and writing stories and things like that. So the first person I reported to was willing to coach me into becoming a publications producer. Mentorship has been a very positive experience for me because it helped me become a more confident person. Because I may have known a bit about the subject, but knowing that you have somebody that can guide you through the process, but also when you struggle, you know that you have somebody to go ask questions, in terms of the direction that you need to be taking or whether you're going the right direction. So I have had a very positive experience, but it hasn't always been, because you meet different people as you progress in your career, and they have different attitudes towards guiding and mentoring. Well, that's a difficult question to answer, because I have found that mentorship is something that comes naturally with certain personalities. And I wouldn't say specifically women or men have a specific role. It's always about an individual who decides that they're happy to mentor and take somebody along a certain path, and they do it well, and therefore they choose to do it. So I can't really specifically talk about women and mentorship specifically. The few good things that I've experienced is that when I am stuck, I didn't have to be close to them. For example, when I worked as a journalist and I'm out in the field, I knew I could pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I'm stuck. This has happened. How do I deal with it? And that worked very well for me. What did not work was mentors that promised to be there for you, and then when you need them, they're not there, or they are not patient enough to walk you through the journey that you're trying to get to. I personally believe that as women, we can adopt another woman that needs mentoring. For example, juniors that are entering whatever field that you're in, adopt them as mentees and get them to learn whatever it is that they want to be good at or they aspire to be. So we must step out and be the ones to find those women rather than sitting there waiting for them to find us. Because when you are junior, you never know really which way to go and who to talk to. So as women, we need to be the ones that get up and find people to mentor. I think women are good at a lot of things, but when it comes to corporate culture as well as business, running a business in general, a lot of us have not really been exposed. We have the skills that we studied for and that we're good at, but in terms of running a business, we need a lot of guidance. It may not be from men, it may be from other women that have been there before. So I wouldn't say women need to mentor women. Men can mentor women as well. But we as women need to identify the need to be mentored. A truly amazing mentor for me is somebody that is naturally a mentor, who has the skill that comes naturally, not because they studied towards being a mentor. They need to be somebody that is willing to empower and inspire others to be greater than they currently are and see them through the process. So if you're going to become a good mentor, you need to be there for the person that you're mentoring, and also give them space to try things out on their own instead of hand holding all the way.